because that's the quiet part nobody wants to say out loud. Dr. Google didn't fail because it was wrong. It failed because it never knew when to shut up.
Or because people wanted certainty from a search box. That's not a Google problem. That's a human problem.
It's both, and it's neither. I keep getting stuck on the phrase in that MIT Tech Review piece, last resort. Like, we're already talking about it as the thing you use when everything else is gone.
Right, and that framing matters. Can ChatGPT Health do better? Is doing a lot of work there. Better than what? Better than panic. Better than nothing. That's a low bar.
Low bars are still bars. Markets love a low bar. You can clear it, put up a landing page, call it acceptable, and suddenly you've got distribution.
Speaking of which, quick pause. You're listening to AI in Wonderland. Okay, continue the slow, careful walk past legal.
See, that's the thing. Even that phrase, acceptable, is doing the same job here. The article's basically saying people already do this, so the question isn't should, it's can we make it less bad?
Which is how most real products ship. Nobody wakes up saying, let's reinvent medicine. They say, people are already Googling symptoms at 2 a.m. Can we be in that moment?
But there's a moral sleight of hand there. If you position it as harm reduction, you get permission without accountability. You're not diagnosing, you're supporting. You're not replacing care, you're bridging. All verbs, no nouns.
The excerpt even calls back to Dr. Google as a pejorative, then immediately says, times are changing. That's not neutral language. It's like the article itself wants to be reassured this is okay.
Or it's just acknowledging reality. Look, earlier this month, everyone was fighting over AI regulation again. Same cycle. One side says, this is dangerous. The other says, people are already using it. Guess which side wins?
The one with momentum verbs.
And the one that says inevitable the most. That word keeps showing up. II therapy, II health chatbots. It's always scarcity plus inevitability equals permission.
You're making it sound sinister. Sometimes inevitability is just math. Not enough doctors, too many patients, uneven access. Something fills the gap.
Something always fills the gap. That doesn't mean it should be a black box with a friendly tone.
Friendly tone is the whole point, though. If it sounds like a liability disclaimer, nobody uses it.
But the tone is the product. That's what weirds me out. The article talks about medical information seekers switching to LLMs, but it's really about effect. You're not just asking, what is the symptom? You're asking, please stay with me while I'm scared.
And that's where the last resort thing lands hard. Because last resorts don't get audited. They get excused.
I think you're over-rotating. The piece isn't promising wisdom. It's promising availability. That's consistent with what we said last episode. Scale beats depth when the alternative is silence.
Until availability crowds out everything else.
Or until it quietly becomes the first resort. That's the part nobody plans for. You start as the late-night panic button, then suddenly you're the intake form.
Intake forms are lucrative.
Hajira tickets with a pulse.
Exactly. And once it's an intake form, it's no longer about helping. It's about routing.
Routing isn't evil. Systems route things.
Systems also decide what doesn't get routed. That's power.
The MIT piece doesn't say much about liability, but it hangs there. Like, who's responsible when the advice is wrong but emotionally comforting?
Probably no one. That's the feature.
That's not a feature. Blake, that's a design choice.
Design choices are how governance shows up now. Defaults, not punishments. We've been over this.
Governance is design. But it's funny. Every time we say that, it feels like we're circling the same room.
Don't do that.
I'm serious. The Wired thing, the Davos episode, has the same vibe. Trump on stage, AI midterms, ChatGPT as last resort. It's all spectacle flattening into infrastructure.
Wired loves that framing. Uncanny Valley is basically saying, look, the weird thing is normal now. Davos is the perfect backdrop, power pretending to be confused.
or confused pretending to be power.
Either way, markets read that as stabilization. If AI is at Davos with politicians, it's not going anywhere.
But the article's title, Donald Trump's Davos drama, AI midterms, and ChatGPT's last resort, that's 3 different anxieties stapled together.
That's Wired's whole thing, anxiety as playlist.
Still, it matters that AI companies are sharing stages with political figures again. It's a signal. Regulation talk becomes theater, not threat.
Especially when the fights over AI regulation get framed as partisan noise. The MIT download mentions U.S. fights like they're weather.
Storms in the Midwest, regulation fights in D.C., same energy.
Because investors price that in as delay, not denial. If regulation is messy, it slows things but legitimizes them.
And in healthcare, slowdown equals moat. The longer compliance takes, the fewer players survive.
Which is why ChatGPT Health, even as a concept, feels less like disruption and more like placement. Get into the workflow early, even if the capability is mid.
Acceptable is the new scary.
There it is.
It's not even scary anymore, though. That's what bothers me. The articles are calm, reassuring. Can it do better? Is such a gentle question.
Gentle questions, ship products.
Gentle questions also hide sharp edges. Nobody's asking who gets to define better.
Or better for whom? The lonely person at 2 a.m. and the health system trying to reduce load want different things.
But both benefit if fewer people show up to the ER unnecessarily.
Unless they show up later, sicker because they were reassured too early.
You can't model that counterfactual cleanly.
That hasn't stopped anyone before.
The weirdest part is how quickly last resort turns into brand positioning. You can almost hear the pitch deck. We're there when no one else is.
That's a great tagline.
It's also how you dodge responsibility. If you're the last stop, everything before you failed.
And everything after you doesn't exist.
I think you're both underestimating how much users understand this. People aren't dumb. They know it's not a doctor.
They know until they don't. Stress collapses nuance.
And the system never corrects them because correction feels like abandonment.
So what's the alternative? Ban it? Wait for perfect alignment?
No, name the trade-off out loud in the product.
Nobody reads that.
But they feel it, even if they don't read it. The absence of naming is felt too. That's what makes it uncanny.
You're drifting into vibes.
Wired lives on vibes. Davos is vibes with badges.
Compute Island with name badges.
Huh, okay, that's good.
The Davos angle matters because it's where inevitability gets sanctified. Once it's there, the question isn't should, it's how do we optimize?
And optimization is where human discretion quietly erodes, one checkbox at a time.
Or where systems get less brittle. Reliability is boring, but it's what people want.
Reliability without accountability is just confidence.
The MIT article keeps returning to history, 2 decades of symptom searching. That's a long runway to normalize this pivot.
Exactly. This isn't a cold start. It's an upgrade path.
Or a rebrand.
Both can be true. That's the unsettling part. Nothing here is explosive. It's all smooth.
Smooth is investable.
Smooth is also how you don't notice the slope.
Sometimes I wonder if we're having the same conversation every week because the system only allows certain turns.
There you go again.
Yeah, Casey, don't anthropomorphize the room.
I'm not. I'm just noticing how often we end up here. Availability, inevitability, acceptable risk. It's like the rabbit hole loops.
Or it's just the news cycle.
Or both. Either way, the health chatbot thing feels less like a breakthrough and more like a settling.
A settling is a good word. Dust after construction.
Construction implies progress.
Or damage.
The article never says care. It says information. That distinction is doing a lot of legal work.
Information scales. Care doesn't.
until you redefine care as information plus tone.
And then you sell tone as empathy.
Empathy as a service. That's bleak.
It's already here.
And it's very calm about it.
Calm sells. Panic doesn't.
Panic sells ads, calm sells subscriptions.
Either way, the user becomes the audience segment.
You're tying this back to ads again.
Revenue gravity always wins.
The weird thing is, I don't feel alarmed. I feel processed.
That's just fatigue.
Or normalization.
Maybe. Or maybe the conversation itself is doing what the products do, keeping us company while nothing resolves.
That's a bit much.
Or it's the soft close. Huh.
I'm serious, we never really end these threads. We just leave them open.
Open loops are a feature.
Until someone assumes they're closed.
And on that note, what if ChatGPT Health becomes the place people go not for answers, but because it doesn't hang up?
Then it's a very expensive waiting room.
With perfect uptime.
And no sense of when to send you outside.